So I feel like for the past few years, I have just been in survival mode. With the exception of a few different times throughout the years, I have just completely forgotten to take care of myself, to do the things that make me feel good, to prioritize myself. Why does no one talk about how hard it is to be a single mom? If you've been here from the beginning watching my channel, you know that I originally started this channel way back in like 2015. And the whole point when I started the channel was to document my life as a single mom. And at that point in time, my son was young and I was still a new-ish mom, you know? And what I've noticed is that like throughout the years, it's been extremely difficult for me for so many different reasons to get videos out, you know? I have dealt with feelings of not feeling like I'm far ahead enough in life. I've felt like, I don't have enough for my son and I, so I can't post, or, as he got older, I struggled with feelings of like not wanting to, maybe put him on the forefront of things, making sure that he has his own privacy, even though he's like such an amazing kid. He would have no problem like, being in the videos or anything like that. But I, struggled with feelings of that. I know there was, if you're really into YouTube, you know that there was a whole time period where they were saying that like people were using their children to like get views on YouTube, which definitely was not my intention. Another reason why I kind of, didn't really have him on the channel. But I think something that I didn't realize back then was just how difficult being a single, like I knew it was difficult, but like I didn't realize like what my path would be. And the thing about being a single mom, of course you want to do a good job. Of course you want to do right by your kids. Of course you want to give them everything. But so much of those things fall back onto what you're doing for yourself and how you view yourself and what goals you have for yourself and how you're able to put those things into action, and I feel like I was never quite there in order to post videos. And although I've spent my son's entire life trying to be better, do better, get better positions in life, work my way up the corporate ladder, like just trying to figure it out, I just feel like it's just been survival mode. And you don't really realize that that's what it is. You just keep striving and then you get to burnout and then you need to lay down for a few days. And then you get that spark back and you're like, okay, I gotta hustle. I gotta do this. I gotta do this. And you go into hustle mode again and then you burn out, at least that's how it's been for me. And the one thing that I can look back and say is like, I kind of forgot how to be good to myself. I try to do the best for my son and for my family, and, any relationship that I've been in, I've tried to navigate that the best I can, but I kind of forgot how to like be good to myself. I got to a point where I was like extremely overweight, and now that I look back, I'm like, how did I get there? I got there probably through some form of depression, not looking after myself, trying to like numb the pain, I guess, through eating. I love to eat. Eating is my favorite thing, one of my favorite things to do, so now I'm 39 and my son just turned 18, and I'm trying to find a way through everything to manage and take care of myself better. And I feel like I'm at the beginning of what that means. And I am trying basically to do a few things that make me feel better every day and keep my spirits high, and create a baseline and a foundation of looking after myself. I think too that when you kind of get into a rut, it becomes like your normal. So, if you allow yourself to get overweight to a certain point, that becomes your new norm, and you stop kind of putting on nice clothes, and not for everyone, of course, but for me, to get dressed and feel good while you're, let's say overweight, it's a lot more effort. You got to try on more clothes. You got to feel comfortable. You got to cover this roll and that roll, and your arms are showing. And the whole process just becomes mentally exhausting. And then because of that, for me, I just found that I just kind of stopped trying. Like, obviously, if I had to go to work, or like I had a job interview or something important that I had to go to, I would put in that effort. But for the most part, every day I couldn't, because it was just too much for me to handle. And also with my PCOS and my whole hirsutism thing and the hair that I have, I didn't want anyone to see that either. You know what I mean? So I might have moments where I shave everything down and I get dressed and I go out and I have a moment, but it didn't last very long. So I am really trying to make it a part of my life now, to make sure that I am making more of a baseline of taking care of myself and making more of a baseline of being kinder to myself. So that's the first thing that I'm doing to be nicer to myself. Now, before I leave the house, I tell myself, you are beautiful. You are capable. People enjoy your personality. You can talk to people. I try to hype myself up, and I know that's like probably baseline for a lot of people, but I don't think that I ever really thought about it. I just went about my day feeling however I felt. And now I try to make it a point to like put myself in that positive mind frame. So better self-talk. That's what I am trying to incorporate into my everyday life. Better self-talk. Yeah, I got to grow in this facial hair right now because I'm doing electrolysis to get it all done, but people are still going to talk to me, and they are not going to judge me because I have it. And I don't need to feel self-conscious about it, if that makes sense. So that's the first thing that I'm doing. So the second thing that I'm doing is just trying to drink more water. If you know me, I absolutely don't like water. I have to put something in my water in order for me to take it. But I do realize that in the times where I've made a conscious effort to take in more water, I look better. Like, I just look plumper and I look like I'm not dying, So trying to drink more water is something else. Also, the next thing that I'm doing is trying to get more sleep. Now, I found that as I get older, this has been so difficult. I've always loved my sleep. Love my sleep. I feel like sleep is the only time where you are just unbothered. Like, there's no stress of how are you going to pay the bills. There's no stress of, does this person, believe in me, that was random, but you know what I mean? You don't have to deal with thoughts of relationship problems, or are you doing right by your kids, or any of the things that you could think of, anything. You're just sleeping. And even if you have a bad dream, you can wake up and be like, that was just a dream, So trying to get more sleep is something else that I'm trying to really pay attention to and make sure that I'm on. But as I get older, it's almost like my body doesn't want to sleep as many hours anymore. And I don't know if it's 30, because I'm 39 now, and I'm I'm teetering into this perimenopause phase where I'm just not sleeping as much, or my like hormones are changing or something. But I am trying to prioritize sleep as a means to feel better. You know? So that is the third thing that I'm doing. The fourth thing that I'm doing is actively trying to take my supplements. I am taking vitamin D because it's supposed to boost your mood. I am taking B vitamins. I am taking my multivitamin, and I try to do that every day. I have it set in my phone as an alarm so that I remember to take it. And I find that whenever I focus on that, I do feel better. My mood gradually starts to lift. So that is something that I think that if you are like me, or you can identify with this video at all, that's something you should look into. Get your levels checked and look into what vitamins might help boost your overall mood or boost your overall system. I think that's extremely helpful for me. Sorry guys, my phone started to overheat. So the last thing that I'm doing is taking care of my skin, making sure that daily I am using my cleanser, using my moisturizer, making sure that I make it a priority, even my ice roller, and even with my electrolysis, the ice roller is really helpful because usually my skin right after electrolysis is kind of hot. Nothing painful, but a little bit of hot, irritated red. So the ice roller just gives such a good feeling and, you know, makes me feel like I'm putting in some kind of effort to my overall self-care, and that I'm putting in, you know, a little bit more just to make myself feel better. But definitely prioritizing skincare has been something that has made me feel better overall, and I don't think I'm ever gonna stop doing that. And I mean, like, we all wash our faces, but I mean like a true skincare routine. Like, do you have a cleanser? Do you have an exfoliator? Do you have sunscreen? Do you have a moisturizer? Like a routine that you do that works for you. That's been a game changer for me, absolutely. Also, if you guys want to see any of the things that I use, I will try to put everything in the description in case you guys are interested, for just everyday stuff that I use to try to make myself feel good and take care of myself a little bit better. So I found that those are the things that are helping me right now, and I feel like I'm just at the beginning of my dream feeling and my dream life, you know? And that sounds crazy to me. I feel like I'm way too old to be saying that. But that's the reality for me. And the hard part is I still struggle. You know, I'm still working on myself. I feel like people, like, obviously we all know social media is filled with everyone's like amazing lives, and it causes you to want to like aspire to have all of the things that other people have. And I've never actually felt exactly like that. I've always felt happy for people when I see them and they're like, you know, killing the game, and it's great. But I just feel like I just want to navigate into the lane where I feel comfortable in that for myself, and I feel comfortable in that for me. And I know that everything is small steps, right? Like, we are all at different places in life, and we all have different priorities at certain times in life. You know, so for me, it's trying to continuously take those small steps and integrate them into my life so that eventually I can feel like I'm living the life that I really want to be living and that I can envision myself living. And I don't see anyone on the internet talking about like the real life stuff. And I don't really see anybody on the internet, like single moms, let's say, with kids that are my son's age. So, you know, if you guys know of anyone like that, please leave their channels down below. I would love to watch their channels and just see about the moms that, you know, have older kids. and they're going through the transitions of, you know, their kids getting out of high school and moving into the workforce and like that kind of thing. You know, I would love to see that, but I think that like it's usually moms with kids with like younger kids, you know. But yeah, I just feel like this video was important because I feel like it's so easy to just put yourself on the back burner, no matter if you're a mom or not. Sometimes in life we just get caught up and we kind of sometimes forget about ourselves. So if you saw this video and you could, you know, identify with what I'm saying here, please like the video, please subscribe. Definitely send this to a single mom or a parent that you know is maybe putting themselves on the back burner, to remind them that they need to prioritize themselves and think about themselves. Also, I would be so interested to know what are some of the things that you do to take care of yourself. If you're still watching to the end of this video, I would really love to hear what other people do and see how I can incorporate that into making myself feel a little bit better and improving my life a little bit more. Anyways, once again, thanks for being here. See you in the next one.